show is brought to you by the Black Business School, the #1 black wealth institution on earth. To learn how to invest in the stock market for free, please visit firstshareofstock.com. That's firstshareofstock.com, and that link is at the top line of the description box. You got my personal recommendation on that, firstshareofstock.com.
Stephen A. Smith came back to First Take today. Obviously, Dallas Cowboys lost, and he is one of the biggest cowboy, I won't call them haters, but trolls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, out here in the game. So he took it upon himself to come back today. But honestly speaking, it's after battling a serious battle with COVID-19. Now, he talked about him almost dying, even though he is fully vaccinated and dealing with it as a 15-year-old commentator, one of the best in the game, no matter what about it, whoever has an opinion about it or whatever. But we're going to get to the quick excerpt of what he had to say about his battle with COVID, and then we'll talk about it.
Excuse me, obligated just to talk to the audience real quick about what the last month has been like. Both of you had COVID, so thank God y'all are both here with me and feeling great and what have you. For me personally, it hit me differently. Right before New Year's Eve, I was told, because in mid-December, around December 16th or 17th or so, I was alerted that I had COVID. And you're assuming, because you listen to a lot of different things or whatever, even though you know how it can affect people differently, you're assuming that you're going to have a fever, might have a cough, going to have that massive headache, but you'll get over it. Yeah. And in a lot of cases, that was the case. In my case, it was totally different. I had 103-degree fever every night, woke up with chills and pool of sweat, headaches were massive, coughing profusely. And it got to a point that right before New Year's Eve, I was in the hospital New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. That's how I brought in the new year. And they told me, had I not been vaccinated, I wouldn't be here. That's how bad I was.
All right. That's a lot to break down there. What you think about it?
That's a lot, man. I know, I don't know if you want to talk about it on here, but you had, we talked about your bout with COVID. And, I believe 100% everything that he's saying. It's kind of weird to me that he had to add on back end of that. Like, had he not been vaccinated, he would have been dead. Maybe it's truth to that. I know it's a lot of skeptics out there, but I thought that was a little bit extra. But I'm glad to see that he made it through. Just another brother to another brother, man to another man. I'm glad to see that he made it through that. And it also shows you, how serious it really is, despite what some people say. It's a very serious, virus. And from people that caught it, that I know caught it, there's nothing you want to be, have to go through. So, I love Stephen A. Smith. I'm just going to leave it there, man. I'm glad that he moved forward and was able to come back 100%. I know he's still making his way back, but come back strong. But I don't know if it's a little bit of something at the end of that. But that's just my spidey senses. I could be wrong.
Yeah, now I'm going to go a little bit further on what you just said, because like you said, I did have it. And it was crazy. Right after Christmas, I found that I had it. And I'm a healthy dude. You know what I mean? For people who watch the show and really watch the show, they know I'm vegan. Mm-hmm. I stay close to my diet from the morning to the night. I'm tight with my stuff, so I take pride in that. So it shocked me that it hit me. And it hit me because it came through my wife and her job and things like that. And shocking, and to feel like you actually have it. It's like, whoa, it hits you different. Because we've heard all this shit for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Telling people this, that, so to know you got it's different. It hits you different. And luckily, thank God, I did have chills. I did go through some little headaches, never had a fever. I had to take Tylenol one time throughout my bout. I did lose my smell. I still don't have my smell to this day. Like I said, I got it the day after Christmas, and we're damn near through January. I still can't smell, but we grind and I feel great. To talk about Stephen A., like you said, I agree. I 100% can agree with everything he said and believe in what he said, that he almost died. The one thing that it bothers me is he didn't say, even though I had the vaccine, I still almost died. That you said because of, which could very well be true, but you still had to go to the hospital even though you were. Now, I'll come out and say I am not. And thank God, like I said, I had the minimal symptoms that I dealt with and I got over it okay, because people aren't. I'm not sitting here just advocating one or the other. But it's real. I'll just put it like that. It's real, and thank God, like you said, Stephen A. is cool. He's back to doing what he has to do, and most importantly, no matter what we agree and disagree with, he's all right.
Yeah, and I think to me, it's got to either be like it's truth to the whole vaccine thing, or somebody's trying to put a wool over our eyes to get the vaccine. Like it's either one of those things, obviously. But to talk a little bit more on the whole thing, I think that a lot of times it comes down with certain people too. Like if you got pre-existing conditions, and sometimes it don't. It's one of those things where it's like it's a gamble. But best practices, not only what they tell you, always try to eat healthy. It's like preventative maintenance, like your car. You don't want to just keep running the car on bad oil. You want to keep changing your oil, doing all those things. Just in case something did come up, maybe you got a better chance of possibly surviving, if you did get this thing. And then I think, it needs to be more of a, education on that. But obviously wearing the mask, not going out if you're sick, sanitizer, all that stuff, all best practices, I think is good, for the situation. I think the jury's still out, on the whole the vaccine thing. You hear both sides. You hear people who say they ain't got it. They got the virus and overcame. You got people who saying they got the vaccine. They didn't go in the hospital. It just I don't know, man. It's one of those things. It's kind of like a toss up at the end of the day, in my opinion, with the whole thing.
I'll say what helped me. I take my sea moss in the morning, which I always do. I do water with hot water with lime, and then I do the miracle food. Shout out to Chakra Doctor, because the miracle food definitely helped me get through it, with all the natural power foods and herbs and the black seed oil and things like that. And then I try to just hydrate as much as possible. You don't really have much of an appetite, but I made sure to stay hydrated because I'm sweating like a slave in the middle of the night. You know what I'm saying? I'm changing through clothes every hour, you know what I'm saying? But hydrate and make sure you was good. And like I said, knock on wood, thank God, I dealt with the minimal symptoms I dealt with, because you hear stories, man. And
well, the thing is about the vaccine, though, the people who are skeptics about it, is it more so not vaccines in general, but the time that it took to produce the vaccine? Because we see that at one point we was all vaccinated to a certain. So I mean, you don't have to speak. You can speak for yourself and other people, however you want to do it. Is it more so the vaccine, or the fact that it has kind of been pushed out faster than any other vaccine?
It's the mandates. It's the reason. This vaccine in particular, we've never seen the likes of it like ever before. We've never seen it push the fact that you can do it. You've always had like a religious exemption. Even when it came to the flu shot, they were pushing that hard. Even in schools, you still had a religious exemption to get out of certain situations if you did not agree with certain vaccinations. That's always been our rights as human beings. You're 100% right. We all went and got them tetanus shots in the various vaccinations when we were younger. Hell, we went together and got them. You know what I'm saying? So we all got them at the end of the day. So it wouldn't have been much of an issue if they left it by choice and certain things like that. But because they pushed it the way they pushed it, and they still continue to push it the way they push it, even though you got a brother like Stephen A. Smith, which I'm sure he had absolute optimal care going into the situation, still had to fight for his life on New Year's Eve in a hospital fully vaccinated. You cannot get mad at people, and this is what pisses me off. They get mad at people for having an opinion and raising speculation when it comes to certain things that this goddamn country does, and that isn't right.
Yeah, that's the problem with it.
That's not right.
It's like it's the history of shady stuff in the medical industry. So I never have a problem with anybody feeling a certain way about that. It's definitely your choice.
Yeah,
with that situation, definitely. I mean, whether you want to look at the science, what they call science, or just go off what you want to go off for, it's your choice at the end of the day. And I think it should be kept that. I don't think nobody should be forced to do it if they don't want to.
I'll put the end of this too, in my opinion, on everything. I am wearing my mask a lot more. I don't know if the shit's helping or not, but mentally for me, I don't want to be around all the fucking germs no more. Like,
for real,
definitely having it. Definitely. And all that shit. I get amongst my circle and I'm chilling, but if I'm at the store or something, I'm masking up with the N95 joint. Like, I ain't I'm cool with all
all right, just move it off this subject in a second, man. How was it compared to the flu for the people who don't know?
Honestly, the flu kicked my ass more. Okay. But I ain't had the flu
that's what I'm saying, right?
In years. Like since we were kids, I haven't had the flu. So I haven't had anything this serious in me in a very, very long time. And it was scary. I don't know if it was because of, like I said, the build up and mentally knowing I had COVID-19 or the actual symptoms. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it messed with me, and I'm just glad everybody was cool.